We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Infinite Gary. Gary's decided it would be fun to try adding surround backs to his 5.1.4 system, making a 7.1.4, but since his room is only 13 feet by 14 feet, there are some potential issues. Because of the short distance from the seat to the back wall, he'll need to move the surrounds forward to give them enough distance from the new surround backs, but this would put the surrounds a little bit forward of the seat, which won't be correct placement. Is this likely to sound better than his current 5.1.4 setup? Are you suggesting that putting the speakers where they're not supposed to be is going to sound better than where they're supposed to be because you're going to put speakers right behind your head? The answer to that question is no. It's going to make it sound weirder and worse, I think. You need to keep your surrounds where they are. If you do decide to use surround backs, I would place them more the way that THX recommends rather than Atmos and Dolby and everybody else these days seems to, which would put them close together right behind your seat, so they're basically like almost earmuffs, and then you're going to turn them super low. They're going to be like super low because you don't want much sound coming out of them at all. And your AV receiver, if you're using one, should do that for you. Should hopefully be able to turn them low enough. If you look after you run your room correction or your auto setup, if it has a -12 to those two things, they are still too close, and you need to move your seat forward. When you move your seat forward, move your surrounds forward, move everything forward. And yes, you'll have to readjust all the rest of your speakers as well. But honestly, dude, your room is way too small for surround backs. There's no, as someone who's had surround backs in a small room, in a room this size, my room was open to the sides to other parts of the house, so there was that. I thought my surround backs would make a difference. My surround backs made things sound worse. I turned them off.
Right.
I did. I turned them off.
Yeah.
So.
No, I completely. I mean, obviously, we understand the whole. Hey, I saw a soundtrack. It says 7.1.
Yes.
And I have a 5.1 system. Maybe I'd like to have a 7.1 system, right? So I can hear the full 7.1 soundtrack. It's important to understand that when you listen to a 7.1, so Dolby True HD or DTS HD Master Audio 7.1, when you play that back on a 5.1 system, you do not lose any sound.
Yeah.
The sound that is in the surround back channels, it gets distributed to your physical surround speakers when you have things set up as 5.1. It's not like those sounds disappear. It's not like they even come from the wrong place. Things are distributed, down mixed, matrixed nicely into the speakers that you do have. And I do agree, if you're setting up a 5.1 system, I would probably not have my surround speakers 90 degrees to my sides, right? I would have them a little bit behind me, which is totally what Dolby recommends, right? Dolby says somewhere between 90 and 120 degrees to your sides.
Right.
So a little ways behind you. That makes sure that the sounds that were mixed into the surround back channels do sound like they're coming from behind you, not directly to either side. But it still works. You don't lose any sound that way. So that's not to be worried about.
So right now he's using Revel front speakers and Dynaudio surrounds. He's considering getting 4 Revels M105s to better match his front speakers and to have Revels for all 7 listener level speakers. And he's just experimenting with these back speakers, so... Yeah. Okay, so what do we consider to be the biggest benefit of having a perfect timbre match all around? I honestly don't think there's much of a benefit, but Rob will tell you that if you're going to be neurotic about it, which, honestly, Gary, you're going to be neurotic about it, so... And that's okay, because the Rob is too. As there's these pans... from in the very rare occasion where something pans directly all the way around your theater, or maybe all down one side of your theater, the timbre match is more perfect. I'm not going to say perfect because it's not.
No, yeah, it's never 100% perfect.
It's never 100% perfect because the speakers are in physically different locations, and there's different interactions with the surfaces that are around, and there's all sorts of other things that go along with it. What does this mean? That means that it sound a little bit more perfectly matched than it would. Would it be an absolute perfect match? No. But it would be more. Is that enough for me? No, it's not. I don't care. I don't care that much. I'm fine with it not being perfectly timbre matched. I've never once thought, as something panned around, that it didn't sound, well, that didn't sound perfectly timbre matched to me. But I'm not Rob, and I'm not you, so maybe you will think that. I still don't think you need surround back speakers, though.
It's rarely used in movies anyway. But yeah, on that rare occasion where, okay, in real life, if you were sitting stationary and a car drove in a circle around you,
right,
all right, that's the sound of that car. All your speakers are perfectly timbre matched. Recreates that experience pretty darn well. You're like, yeah, that is one car driving in a circle around me. On the rare occasions that's used, cool, yay, all right. It didn't sound like a slightly different car as it moved from speaker to speaker. It makes the experience of this, dome or hemisphere of sound around you possibly more convincing in those instances when it's used, but it's rarely used. It's not something I'm gonna even advocate for most people, but it's like, hey, if it happens, cool. That's my feeling on it. It's like, all right, yay, it's one homogeneous sound around you.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard a car drive around you before, but depending on how your ears are positioned and how you're turning and what's going on with the ground,
and what else is around you,
it changes sound as it goes around you anyway. So it sounds perfectly natural for it to change sound as it goes through speakers.
And
but
your brain
as
is
you wish.
Pretty darn good of if you see the image of the thing and then it goes off screen and it goes through speakers around you, like your brain's pretty good at going, all right, that's supposed to be the same object, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, your brain does a pretty good job of filling that in. So
he says in most movies with the 7.1 soundtrack are the surrounds and surround backs playing at the same time. Yes. Or are they often separate and distinct? Not as
rarely.
Often. Yeah, no. Do we know of any specific scenes or movies where the surround back channels are very obvious and separate from the surround channels?
X-Men.
Spider-Man 2? The Doc Ock scene, maybe?
Yep.
I would think that would be one, though I can't actively tell you that. There is definitely music in Porcupine Trees is a dead wing, dead bird, dead something. There's
can't remember which one of the newest Planet of the Apes movies. Can't remember if it was Rise or the Dawn.
I mentioned it on the podcast about 2 months ago. There was some horror movie I watched that wasn't all that great, but had distinct surround sound aspects of it on Netflix. It was something about a girl she was a first time on the job cop, and they had her at the old station where they were moving everybody to a new station. Somebody in the comments find the name of that movie. She was there, and then she would call because weird things were happening, and there was some family that had all been killed. I don't know. It was ghosts.
But most of the time, your surround and surround back channels are playing ambience.
Yep. Music.
So most of the time, most of the time it's kind of diffuse background. You're not really supposed to have your attention drawn to it.
No.
Types of sounds. That's most of the time.
Which X-Men movie were you talking about?
First one, because you got the voices that distinctly go around you.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Professor X's voice.
Yeah. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.